and gentlemen. Now again, if you are inside the Budweiser World Bar tent, come on out.
Hello, everybody. How's it going? Good to see you.
We're glad you made it. Well, 2 races ago, this is such an important race, and for all the ticket holders that are here, man, we appreciate it. Thanks for showing up and supporting the racetrack. But Mike, I tell you, there's a lot of momentum going on for this last race here at Phoenix before the chase starts, the final one next week in Homestead. So this, in my opinion, this particular race is a make it or break it race.
Yeah, I've got a couple of buddies that I hang out with a lot that'll be racing on Sunday afternoon, and they can't hardly breathe right now. They're so nervous because they know 1 point separates you making it or not. And into the next round, into this round, Denny Hamlin actually tied in points and got through on a better finish. So nobody takes anything for granted. They know that every position on the racetrack matters, and when they have that attitude, you get to see some great racing.
And you know, some of these guys are, I'm not going to say giving up, but they sure are giving the race to Kevin Harvick. I was talking to Joe Gibbs guys, and they said, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and pencil in Kevin Harvick that he's going to win this race. Then we have to figure out what we need to do to make it. And I tell you what, that's when Harvick is in a lot of people's minds right now, because anybody can win 5 out of the last 6 races here. You got to admit, that's pretty good.
Yeah, this is a tough racetrack, and you can't take anything for granted, like I said earlier. Harvick is good here, but I just don't see that team having the momentum coming here that we've seen in the past. They've struggled a bit lately, haven't run quite as good as we thought they would, so it might be interesting to see if they can rally and come to this place and put on the dominant performance that we've seen in the past. I'll give you a little heads up. Watch this first practice today, and if you see that 4 car near the top of the board, that spells trouble for the rest of the competitors, because if he's on and he's got his setup right, you might go to your local sports booking place and bet $1 on him or something.
Well, you know, we're talking a lot about the chase for the title. There's no doubt about that, but there are a lot of drivers out there that say, look, we're not in it, and we want to be in it, but unfortunately, we know we got a good car. And I was just talking to Martin Truex before I came up here, and Martin said, look, I got a really good car, and I think I can win this race. And who else said that? Brad Keselowski. The 2 cars.
Yeah, and just think about Brad. He was running them down at Martinsville trying to win that race. I've never seen him drive any harder. He knows if it weren't for an engine failure at Talladega, he would be a part of the story this weekend. He said, I'm going to make myself a part of the story. I'm going to go out and win the race. That way they can't help but talk about me. And I know Brad and his passion and his desire and determination, he'll be another guy I would watch real closely. Hey, let me ask y'all a question. Can we get them to turn them damn cars down a little bit? I can't hear a word I'm saying.
Hey, Mike, I looked out in this crowd and I saw some people that I used to go on cruises with.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, I sure did. I saw them. And you know, we got our cruise January the 29th. We're going to go down through the Caribbean. I think you're going also, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to go cruising.
So that's going to be a blast. I hope you see more of you guys on the cruise on the 29th. We're going to be out there for 5 days. Should have a good time, but the first good time is this weekend right at this track. I love this weather. I love the fan enthusiasm. I love the drivers out there competing hard. And by gosh, I got my fingers crossed and hoping they all can pull one off. But it's going to be a heck of a week. But after this is over, the tension starts next week when we get to Homestead. I don't know if anybody's been to that racetrack before, but it's another great racetrack, and it's going to be a hell of a week next week.
Yeah, it's awesome that we're here in Phoenix, and like Rusty said, we're going to wind up in Miami, and then in January we're going to go on a cruise. So you can just Google NASCAR Cruise with Mike and Rusty and go along with us. And just want to let y'all know that there's a lot of fun things happening at this racetrack for the future too. We're going to have a bit of a redo one of these days, and it's going to be even better for the fans. The fans will be more interactive, a little closer to the action, and I just love Brian Sperber's passion for you guys. He got Rusty and I together and said, let's just have an event, talk to our fans a little bit, give them an insight about our race and about the weekend. Brian really cares, he gets it, and this is already one of my favorite stops on the circuit. Of course, I have a bit of a passion for a place down in Florida called Daytona. I won there once or twice, and that's awesome. So when you come to Phoenix, this is definitely on the top of my list, and I'm glad it's going to continue to grow and continue to be more fun for you guys.
Tell you what, let's talk about winning. I got to win here at this track in the rain. Remember that? You guys were there when it started raining that day? I'll never forget that. I'm like, man, I got a great car and it's going good. And they said, well, we're going to have rain. I said, oh, it doesn't rain out here ever. You know, it's going to dry up pretty quick. Man, it started raining after the race, and I woke up Monday morning, and it was still raining. So, the other day I was looking at that trophy because it's a big old ceramic pot. It's not a generic looking trophy, but it was a cool deal, and I had a great time winning here in the rain and celebrating my victory in the garage area. Not in the normal victory lane, so it was a lot of fun.
Rusty, what do you think the fans could look for as keys to winning on Sunday afternoon? We're going to call the truck race here tonight, and we noticed in practice that the times really don't fall off much. So strategy and track position could be key to the victory tonight. What do you think will be the keys for Sunday?
I think the number one key I talk about every single week with MRN is mistakes. You just got to be mistake-free because, Mike, you know as well as I do, if you're good enough to make it in this top 8, you got a fast car. There is no doubt about that. So where's the problem happen? The problem happens when you get over-anxious, you leave a lug nut loose, or you come down pit road too fast, or maybe you miss a gear on a restart, which doesn't happen much, but at this particular track, on that front straightaway, it's so flat and so straight, we see people making mistakes on restarts, hitting each other in the back, because as a driver, when you're lined up behind him, you can't see around them. All you can see is through their back window. And I've seen a lot of guys having problems here. Not to mention the problems we see sometimes at this new design track going into turn 3. If you cut the apron too deep and try to make that corner a little too tight, we see problems there too, don't we?
Yeah, that's a funnel. And these guys all want to be in the big part of the funnel and cut down off the road and get some momentum. But funnels close up. You know, that's how they work. And when they get there running 160 miles an hour, it gets pretty chaotic at times. The fortunate thing about this racetrack is there are 2 grooves. So you can see guys rolling up high and making some ground there as well. But I think, like Rusty says, you have to be mistake-free. And if you do mess up, you do make a mistake, you better do it in the first 100 laps. If you do that, you might have a chance to overcoming it. Late in the race, you have no chance. So watch the truck race tonight and look for those guys to really try to figure out track position by staying out maybe and not pitting. And I love that, Rusty, because you got guys on new tires, guys on old tires, things get really crazy.
Yeah, and this track has got some wear on it, just enough that it wears tires a little bit, so it creates some haves and have-nots out there, meaning that the guys that got a really good handling car or truck or whatever, they can get out there, but as those tires wear, they kind of go from the front to the back and they start working the bottom of the track, the top of the track. I guess what I'm saying, we're at a big short track. This is a 1 mile track. They run short track style tires, they run short track style setups, and they're going to be rooting and gouging out there because we were talking this morning about the strategy going into this race, and they said, you know what, there's one strategy. You got to run every damn lap like it's a qualifying lap, because especially in the Cup race, what have we got? Jimmy Johnson locked in, we got Carl Edwards locked in, and then there's going to be a winner, and I don't know who it's going to be, but then we got one other person in the points. But who knows? Maybe Johnson will win again, maybe Carl Edwards will win. But there is no hanging around, taking it nice and easy and being careful, in my opinion. It's just run as hard as you damn can and not make any mistakes, because you can't afford to mess up out here. You got to run hard.
You know what I love Rusty said the most? It's a short track. The mentality short track. 160 miles an hour in the corner, that isn't any short track I ever grew up on. And when they get to the turn, the aerodynamics can come into play. You see guys getting loose under each other. So this track has it all, in my opinion. You have the really fast speed, especially on that long arced back straightaway, and then you have short track style racing down in the center of the corner. So when I come over the bridge on Avondale and see the track up ahead, I get happy. I get to smiling, because this is an amazing facility. And you guys make it amazing. The fans here, the way you embrace NASCAR. Hello, darling. How are you back there? We just really appreciate you. And thank you for coming over and saying hello to us.
Mike, I don't know if we'll be able to hear him too good, but we want to take a couple questions.
Sure. Anybody got a question?
Have to holler it out. You love me? That's not a question, but it's a nice comment, though. What do you got? According to my brother, I'm the mayor of Bristol? No, I just like racing there, you know. I was able to win there 9 times. It was a great track for me, and I love it. We're at a track right now that I love a ton, too, man. This is so much fun out here. Anybody else?
Question?
You do what?
She wants to know how your place in Cabo is doing.
Place in Cabo's doing fantastic. I'm going down there Monday morning. Going to spend a couple days before Homestead, but I don't know if you've ever been there or not, but man, that's probably my second favorite place on the planet. That's a lot of fun down there.
How's your golf game?
Not near as good as yours, I can tell you that. I don't know, little birdie told me you and Denny Hamlin are getting pretty good.
Well, half of that's true. He is. I'm still struggling with my game a little bit. Rusty, what do you say we take a selfie of all the fans in the background?
All right, let's do it.
I got it. Hold on.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right,